Audi A5 Review. Familiarity wrapped in new paper. Introduction. Audi's latest offering, the A5, takes center stage as a larger, but not necessarily better iteration of its predecessor. Does this evolution bring significant improvements, or is it just more of the same? Pros and cons. Pros. High-quality interior. Ample room throughout. Reliable performance. Cons. Limited headroom in the back. Potentially overwhelming touchscreens up front. Overview. What's new? This new model carries over much from the A4, yet it steps into the future as the A5. The previous A5 lineup of the 3-door coupe and 4-door Sportback is gone, paving the way for the new A4 to go electric. Audi's new naming conventions mean even-numbered models will be electric, while odd-numbered ones remain combustion engine-driven. Still a saloon, but not quite. Audi labels it a saloon, but with coupe stylings. The real surprise is at the boot, an electrically assisted hatchback, or as Audi dubs it, a completely new sedan concept. While the estate remains an estate, it now goes by the name Avant in Audi's lexicon. Evolution, not revolution. Apart from the name, little has changed. The upgraded A4 adopts some of the A5's coupe-like features, with narrower windows and a lower seating position. The new model is larger in every dimension, yet maintains the sleekness of the old A4, enriched with a tech-laden interior. Driving experience. More of the same. Driving the A5 is a mixed bag. It's not particularly fun, even with the hotter S5 variant, but it is designed to be neutral and reassuring. The entry-level petrol engine provides a relaxed drive, though it won't break any speed records. A more powerful version offers a livelier performance. All models come with a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission, which works especially hard in the entry petrol variant. Diesel swan song? The 2.0-liter diesel engine doesn't reach the heights of its predecessors, reflecting the industry's shift away from diesel. However, it still offers decent performance and economy. The Quattro all-wheel drive option adds extra grip, making the drive more secure. Why choose this over an SUV? Audi's A5 isn't the go-to it once was, overshadowed by the practicality of SUVs. However, if driving experience is your priority, the A5 outshines its taller counterparts. It offers reasonable fuel economy and running costs, with sufficient space for passengers and luggage. Plus, it's significantly cheaper than Audi's Q5 SUV. Verdict. The Audi A5 continues the legacy of the solid, family-friendly A4, albeit under a new name. It's a reliable performer, well-suited for piling on the miles. Just be cautious of splurging on too much tech that could overwhelm rather than enhance your experience. Conclusion. The A5 remains a known quantity in the Audi lineup. It might not bring groundbreaking changes, but it carries forward the dependable nature of its predecessor. For those seeking a blend of familiarity and subtle upgrades, the A5 stands as a solid choice in a sea of evolving vehicles. What are your thoughts on the new Audi A5? Share your experiences and let's discuss whether this revamped model hits the mark or misses the beat. Audi A5 Review. Bigger, but not necessarily better. Just more of the same. Really good stuff. Great quality interior, decent room throughout, absolute known quantity. Bad stuff. Headroom a bit squeezed in the back. The touchscreens up front can be overwhelming. Overview. What is it? Gosh, where to start? This is the new A4, except it's now the new A5. The old A5, 3-door coupe and 4-door Sportback, range is no more. And the new A4 will be almost the same car, but electric. Audi has changed its naming structures so that even-number models will be electric and odd ones combustion engined. But it's still a saloon, right? Sort of. Audi bills it as such, but also says it's got coupe stylings. Scurry around to the boot, and it's actually an electrically assisted hatchback, or a completely new sedan concept, if you believe the press release, that opens as you look on bewildered. The estate remains an estate, mind. Well, an Avant in Audi parlance. What else has changed? Apart from the name, it's mostly business as usual. Although the upgraded A4 has taken on some of the A5's swoopier coupe leanings, the windows are narrower than before and you feel very low sitting inside the car. Though maybe we've just been hanging out in too many SUVs recently. The new car is longer, taller, and wider than its predecessor, And both saloon and estate versions of the car are exactly the same length at just over 4.8 meters. It's a sleeker, fancier version of the old A4, with a tech-filled interior. Check out the endless screens on the interior tab. But has it outgrown its Mercedes C-Class, Alfa Romeo Giulia, and BMW 3 Series rivals? Can't wait for that group test. Is it a decent drive? It's not fun as such. Even the hotter S5 is a fast performer without being particularly exciting. But you can appreciate that Audi has put a lot of effort into making the car neutral and reassuring. The entry petrol actually makes for a relaxed run over country roads, even if it's 148 brake horsepower per 207 pounds FT and 9.8 seconds 0 to 62 miles per hour won't set any records. There's a more powerful 201 brake horsepower per 251 pounds FT version of the 2.0-liter petrol that offers more verve and gets the 0 to 62 miles per hour time down to 7.8 s. All of the cars in the A5 range come with a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic as standard, which has to work a bit harder in the entry petrol to keep the car going. The 2.0-liter diesel isn't operating at the heady level of old. But why invest too much in a diesel format that's sinking away into oblivion? Shame really, as its 201 brake horsepower per 295 brake horsepower offers 7.7 S0 to 62 miles per hour pace and decent economy. The Quattro all-wheel drive option, your only chance to get a 4x4 A5 until the PHEV turns up, gets that down to 6.9 S thanks to the extra grip. Why this and not an SUV? The German premium carmakers have long relied on a mixture of habit and nostalgia to shift their heartland saloons. But the A5 isn't the ubiquitous car it once was. If you prioritize the drive over practicality, then the A5 is leaps ahead of any of the SUVs in the Audi camp. But it doesn't have the same cabin and luggage space of a taller 4x4. The petrol engines at launch are rated around 40 miles per gallon and the diesel option at just over 50 miles per gallon. The A5 saloon at least has reasonable economy and running costs in its favor, and there's decent space in the back for a couple of passengers and a solid amount of clobber. The hatchback on this saloon also adds to the practicality. And of course, at 42,000 pounds to 55,000 pounds for the A5 range, it works out a solid chunk cheaper than Audi's Q5 SUV. What's the verdict? The old A4 was always a rock-solid family car that could notch up the miles, and the A5 carries that on. Audi's new A5 is a known quantity in everything except the name. Sure, Shakespeare had something to say about that. The old A4 never smelled that sweet, but it was always a rock-solid family car that could notch up the miles like nothing else, and the A5 carries that on. Just don't get carried away spending too much money on ridiculous bits of tech.